the rest of it. It's the job of things. You should listen, 'cause it's about to come on right about now. No, that's awful.
And welcome to Video Home Show. My name is Kieran.
My name is Hugh.
And we are your hosts, and today we will be discussing USA High, the fantastic teen sitcom. But beforehand, Hugh, what did you do this week?
This week, or like since we last recorded? Because they're different.
Since we last recorded, shut up, don't ruin the process for everyone.
I've done a few things. Specifically, like, the day before we were last supposed to record, I played all of and finished Crash Bandicoot 3 because it was on my housemate's PlayStation 3. So I was just like, oh sure, I'll play a bit of it. And then like hours pass. It's just like the last
2
boss
hours
is just over.
later.
I'm like, oh, better go collect some gems now.
Don't buy into the whole gem scheme. It's a total.
Man, I collected like more than half the gems before I was like, I have to
God.
stop doing this. This is I need to stop.
Crash Bandicoot is definitely like one of my favorite games as a series.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the first 3 anyway, plus Crash.
Oh, well, the Naughty Dog ones.
Yeah, the Naughty Dog ones, yeah.
That nonsense where they gave up their rights to like everyone who was willing to pay them $5.
So I did that.
Yeah.
Also, I want to note that I want like your opinion on this. Did you see Superhot's Kickstarter? That
I
happened,
did,
like, what was
actually.
that was 2
didn't
weeks
look
ago
too
when
much-
we were recording. So
I didn't look too much into the detail of it, but I saw that they had a Kickstarter.
it just
That's what I
like
saw.
got funded straight away. It was very
Of
impressive.
course. Well, like, yeah, that happens a lot on Kickstarter where people have like a basis for what they kickstart,
Yeah, yeah.
so they get funded instantly. Like, do you know Girls with Slingshots? The comic. The
Oh,
comic.
yes, I do. Sorry.
I love that webcomic. I'm just gonna say it straight out. But at the same time, they had a Kickstarter to have like a tour across the United States where she goes to all these different cons that are happening over the next year or so, and it got
Okay.
instantly funded.
Yeah, the people wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
wanted it already, and like that demo originally was up in September, so I suppose people were like super
Yeah.
into it anyway and wanted it to come out and wanted to see what they did next about it.
Exactly, because like PewDiePie and Markiplier and like those big YouTubers had all like done like videos of them playing super hot. It is a really good game, and it had like developed kind of a bit of a hype behind it.
Yeah, I think they're like, what they're saying is they're going to redo all of it from scratch. They're not going to like just now make a game out of what they'd already done, kind of thing.
That's kind of interesting.
They're actually going to start again, but they kind of know how they're doing it now, as opposed to
I
previous
really
methods.
hope they don't lose their like almost Bauhaus influenced minimalism that they have going on. in
Yeah,
their video
I don't
games.
think they will. There was some like artwork and stuff with the Kickstarter, as far as I'm aware.
But it was
That was just like looked like it was a more detailed version.
Okay,
it was
that's-
like
that's
less low res and whatnot.
I really liked the look of that game.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I just want to see more of it, really.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I have 2 more things I want to talk about really quickly. And
Okay,
then,
go for it,
then I will stop. Sorry, I bought this game Factorio that's in alpha.
Oh, God, yeah.
You might have seen it because one of our friends was recommending it, and
Phil
I
and
instantly
Luke, yeah.
just saw it and was just like, "Grand, I'm buying it." So then I bought it. Days passed, and then
it's like the totally intermediate step, and then
It's
I bought
just
it,
like
and then
everything-
days passed.
everything that's addictive about like Minecraft and other games of that ilk, where it's kind of like sandboxy and you're just kind of doing stuff to do other stuff to get other stuff. But this is kind of like you create a machine that does things for you. So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I want some iron. I'll just build this like really complicated iron getting machine that will provide me and will then feed into all my factories that build other stuff, and it gets so
Yeah.
complicated and just it's so good. I can't recommend it enough. It's clearly he's about to put it into, I don't know if they're moving to beta, but I say I don't know how many people are working on this. It could
Say he
be
as
it could be 10
ominous
women
video
for all I
game
know.
company that works on it.
Yeah. but I don't know if it's about to go into beta. But they've just said it's gonna jump in price. So anyone who wants to buy it, I recommend buying it. Unless it has already jumped in price by the time we have this episode out, in which case I apologize.
Yeah, that was actually like, okay, for anyone who can't tell, I'm quite tipsy, and I came from a party where we were discussing this video game that I only heard about at this party. But basically, it was everyone who was trying to get work done in terms of like college and like career kind of work, but they were just like, and then Phil told me about Factoria.
Factorio.
Factoria, sorry.
Like it was like impacting my sleep for actual going to work that I had to do to like pay my rent. I was just like, oh no, but I need to go to sleep. But if I just improve the power output by this much, like, no, stop.
Jesus Christ.
It's pretty good. Yeah, so I want to mention that. And also, I don't know if you saw it, but AMC have a new show that I imagine they hope will replace like Mad Men when it finishes / Breaking Bad has finished. So it's starting like in the US today, but they put the first episode like on their website, so obviously it's available everywhere on the internet.
What is this show?
It's called Halt and Catch Fire. Basically it's
Hold and Catch Fire?
Halt and Catch Fire.
Halt and Catch Fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which the name is from like this computer command, like really old computer command that would effectively make all the processes try and compete for processing space get first priority. So basically the machine would just like break, and there was no way to fix your computer. They would just break it.
Yeah.
But basically the show is about these two guys who work at this. There's two guys and this girl who work at this software company in the early 80s, and basically they're just like, we're sick of IBM and Apple monopolizing the PC market, so then they try and reverse engineer an IBM PC to just make like a very slightly better one without having to do any of the like work to begin with to make it. Yeah, so it's like, but it's like one of those AMC shows where everything's really dramatic and
so
there's quite snappy dialogue.
It's Mad Men to graphic design in the 60s with after the interwar period and stuff like that with the immigrant artists, but it's applied to the 80s like Silicon Rush, pretty much. Okay, I get you. Okay, that sounds kind of good.
It's like
Halt and Catch Fire. Okay,
look it up. It's quite good. The first episode is out.
There's a girl with short hair in it, so you know I'm sold.
There is. That's all you care about.
I'm sure the missus would actually like this a lot because she was into Mad Men back when it was like still good.
Also, have you not seen the last series or like the current like first half of the last series that just finished?
I'm going to tell you the truth. My opinion of Mad Men is completely based upon what my fiance tells me.
Okay, so it's gotten good again.
Okay, she disagrees.
Has she seen the? I don't care, Kieran. She's wrong. It's gotten momentarily good again for the next.
Uninvited to the wedding, Hugh. You were uninvited to the wedding.
The next bit. The next bit is good.
But fair enough. Okay, I'll introduce you to this.
Look it up. I think like it has the potential to be very good.
I'm looking at its IMDb and Metacritic score at the moment, which is quite good. 9.1 on IMDb and 69% on Metacritic. So that's pretty decent for what I presume is only one episode.
It's literally one episode, and it is one of those things. They do put a lot of effort into setting it up in not a lot of time. It is one of those first episodes, but you kind of appreciate that it is still like the second when it ended, I was just like, I'm on the next episode now. It wasn't.
Okay. It's a strong pilot, is what you're saying.
It's a very strong pilot. Yeah, that's how I describe it.
Fair. Okay, I'll tell you about it, and I'll
watch
it with you.
What did you do? What did you do the last while?
Okay, so hang on. Since we last talked, there's been a fair bit of stuff that's been going on. First, I want to say, video game I played, Transistor.
You played Transistor? I haven't bought it yet.
I played Transistor.
I say.
I haven't bought it. A friend of mine has got it and I played it. It's really good. It's really interesting because it's in a lot of ways it's very similar to Bastion, and it's like continuing on the Supergiant kind of trend, but with the battle systems and the mechanics of it, it's actually showing that Supergiant can do more than what it did in Bastion.
Okay. Okay.
which is really nice, and I like that a lot because that was kind of like the criticisms that people were making about Supergiant before, like when what's it called, Transistor was being teased that like, oh, they're a one-trick pony,
they're gonna make Bastion again.
They were going to make Bastion again with a different setting and a different story and different narrative, which is kind of what they did, but they also changed the mechanics. It's a bit more Final Fantasy Tactics orientated.
Okay, yeah.
Some kind of turn-based mix with real time, as opposed to Bastion, which was all real time.
Yes.
That was good. I played that. That was very good. Other than that,
the only complaint I've heard from that is people who loved Bastion, and then they felt like that the storytelling at the start of this game was too similar, but like they didn't think the story was as good to begin with anyway, and that was like the initial start of it, like did kind of reinforce their worry that it might just be the same game again.
Yeah, that's I understand that.
It was just that like not even like that the game mechanics were obviously different. It was just the like way the story was told was the same, and that kind of like annoyed them a bit. Well, I guess like it's from the same studio and whatnot. Like you can't. It's not something that it was like, oh, I'm not going to play this. I don't like the game now. It's just kind of like a niggling thing if you loved Bastion and played it a lot.
So Supergiant, in my opinion, is the biggest indie game studio masquerading as a AAA studio.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think is fair compared to the rest of them.
Would you describe them as Supergiant?
They're very... Whoa. Well done. We've just won like 3,000 Emmys.
Emmys?
I don't know. But like Supergiant is really good at what they do, and yes, they use the same voice actor as the narrator from Bastion, as the spoilers Sword from Transistor. Yes, but like the interaction is different because the narrator in Bastion is kind of aware of everything that's going to happen, even though you as the player aren't.
Okay. Yeah.
But everything that happens he's a part of the story in Transistor.
Yes.
He is.
Because he's the Sword.
He's the Sword. He's almost the protagonist, but slightly detached. It's really interesting but he's like accounting events as they happen to him rather than retrospectively. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. While Bastion was all exposition, this is a bit more, oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah. This is happening to me. I'm not the narrator, I'm the Sword.
Exactly, yeah. Bit of a demotion.
Yeah. You're not omnipotent anymore.
So the other two things that happened since I last talked to you were I went to see two different movies. One I really liked and one I really hated.
Oh, right. Oh, yay.
Oh, yeah. So the one I really liked, because let's open on a good note here.
Yeah.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
Okay. I haven't seen this yet because I was going to go see it, and then we were like on our way to the cinema and then realized that it wasn't out here yet because it came out in the US a week early. So like but like
for anyone from the US watching, this is the pain that all Europeans have to feel.
No, but like sometimes the opposite thing happens with like Hollywood movies. They just randomly schedule the European release date early. Or they release it in the UK and Ireland early and not Europe,
or they release it like at the same time in an attempt to stop piracy and stuff like that, because the biggest cause of piracy is the fact that they release movies at different times in different locations.
Exactly, and that's why TV show piracy is pretty much never going to go away, because
you're
never going to release stuff at the same time.
Never, ever.
Yeah. So instead I went to go see Blue Ruin, which is excellent, and I recommend it. But
okay,
it's really, really good.
I recommend X-Men Days of Future Past because they brought back Bryan Singer, who is the director of X-Men 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And he magically managed to tie all first class X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, Wolverine 1, Wolverine 2 all together. It is actually amazing how he did that.
Yeah.
Like, so many directors, so many producers, like an eclectic bunch of different actors apart from what's his name, Australian guy.
Yeah, he doesn't count as having it tied together.
He now has the record as returning as the same role more than once, like most returning same role actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
really?
has that record now. Yeah, in comic book movies, but he's now actually approaching the James Bond record,
which I assume Sean does. Roger Moore have that, or does Sean Connery have that?
I don't know. You'd have to look that up.
Would I? Would I have to look it up, Kira?
You would have to look it up because I'm holding a microphone in one of my hands.
You're okay. Right.
Therefore, I can't Google things.
That's fair. You could use your nose.
I could, but it was a really good movie. I really liked it. It was just really good. I recommend going to see it. There's a lot of good stuff they did with Quicksilver. Go see it.
That's cool. Yeah. The only bad review I read of it that was basically I really didn't like the Bryan Singer movies. They were not me. This is the reviewer talking.
Okay.
I didn't like Bryan Singer's direction. Also, I don't like anything else Bryan Singer has ever directed.
Okay,
I think I noticed your bias there, Mr. Professional Film Critic.
That sounds like Bryan Singer's ex-girlfriend is talking about his movies.
No, that was very it. It was just like remember when Bryan Singer ruined the X-Men movies to begin with? He's done it again. It's just like, what are you doing? This is harsh. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. But still, I thought that was a silly.
It was really good because Irish TV station TV3 was playing all the X-Men movies every Saturday night leading up to the release of Days of Future Past.
I think Film 4 was doing that as well.
I'm sure loads of channels were doing something like that.
Makes sense.
But me and my missus watched what's it called? First Class before we watched. That was the only one we caught before we went to see.
That's probably wise.
And it was really good because it's really interesting because she didn't like that movie and I really liked it.
Yeah.
But she liked all the things I liked about it and I hated all the things she hated about it.
Okay.
So it's just kind of very decisive, how
you have a low bar.
How we leaned. She didn't like a lot of the things about the First Class element. She didn't like all the New Mutants, and I agreed with the reason she didn't like the New Mutants.
Yeah.
But she liked all the kind of plot points between Xavier and Magneto that I really liked, and I thought that was the movie's strength. It was really interesting how we were discussing that, but it was interesting. But I think Bryan Singer's greatest strength is with sequels. He can look at what came before in the last movie and it was okay, that person, and that person is dead weight. Get rid of them. And then this person, this person. Yeah, and this person, this person, and this person is where the plot should be focused because the next spoilers, the plot in Days of Future Past is very much focused on Xavier, Magneto, Logan to an extent, and Mystique.
That's
and
cool.
Xavier, Magneto, and Mystique were definitely the strengths of First Class. They basically just kill off everyone else.
Do you remember I think it was at the start of X-Men 3 where they just kill Mystique straight away.
Yeah,
they're just what happened?
X-Men 3 can go die in a hole. X-Men 3 was god awful.
Yes, it was really bad.
It was really bad. And also he successfully, at the same time, while incorporating it into the grander X-Men movie universe, he also managed to retcon all of it.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the other
amazing.
problem. Several things I read about it where people had. They were just you've just retconned all those movies I watched, and I don't want to. I quite liked some of them, and they don't matter anymore.
I think you should watch Days of Future Past as an example of how to write yourself out of a corner.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's the ultimate example of how to write yourself out of a corner
without just doing a reboot and being no, this is a different Spider-Man. Definitely, it's just a different person.
The movie I saw that I hated,
yes,
Godzilla.
Okay, I haven't seen Godzilla either.
Okay, Do you mind if I spoil something
I
for you?
I already know what happens.
Okay.
Because you told me on the internet. Not you didn't tell me
sorry.
personally, but you like posted stuff online that was explaining the movie.
I'm sorry.
Like,
okay.
I'm not going to go see this now because that sounds really bad.
Being friends with me on Facebook is a risk you have to take.
No, I wasn't annoyed. It was just it was funny because people, someone commented just being like, Kieran, spoilers.
Yeah, it was like, I'm not going to see the movie now. Yeah, that was anyway, either way, I'm gonna, okay, audience, spoilers, skip 5 minutes ahead. Based on the trailers, right?
Yeah.
You would think Bryan Cranston has a big role in that film.
Also, because he is like the one doing loads of interviews for it on talk shows.
Exactly, and he is like after Breaking Bad, he is the most accomplished actor who's on that like whole payroll kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone else is very new or B actor status kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, spoiler.
Okay.
He dies at the end of the first act.
Yeah. I know that already because you told me on Facebook.
What? Don't. But like me and the missus and everyone who went to see it were just like, what the fuck? And I was just there before anyone else reacted. I was just like, I was giving the movie far much more credit than I thought I deserved, I suppose, retrospectively, where I was like, how are they going to write him back in? They're going to do it. They're going to bring him back. They're going to bring him back. No, it's unbelievably stupid. Me and my missus, because we enjoy doing this, we actually wrote ourselves an alternative movie, which made a lot more sense, was a lot better, and like, okay, I'm completely biased on this, but it was a lot better. That movie was goddamn stupid. I also went to see it with several scientists.
Yeah.
It is stupid.
Well, yeah. That was...
They eat radiation in this movie, which annoyed me to no end. Rather than being like clever about like how like life has changed over millions of years, they could have just been like, they need more radiation to survive and they like radiation heavy environments. No, they eat radiation. I was like,
because that insinuates that their outer skin is like like radiation can't penetrate it, so they have to eat it so it gets on the inside.
Exactly. And then at the same time they were just like, we call him Godzilla because he is a god amongst animals. And I was like, okay, where does the Zilla part come from? And it was like, no, how you do this is you just like, okay, he attacks Japan first.
Of course.
So what? Okay, that's absolutely fine in terms of the movie's origin.
Yeah.
But then, like, okay, the Japanese people described him. How you retcon this is the Japanese people described him as a mix between a whale and a gorilla, which is where the name Godzilla comes from.
Yeah.
Gojira comes from a mixture of the Japanese words for whale and gorilla.
Okay.
That makes sense. And then you could have just extrapolated Godzilla from that.
Yeah.
Like, make the word make sense in both the fictional world as it does in the real world.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. And also, they need to start treating Godzilla like a comic book film, where the bad guys are people from Godzilla lore. They made up a new monster for Godzilla.
Okay.
Well, I think they should have done something from the established Godzilla lore. They should have brought in like Rodan or Mothra or King Ghidorah or something like along those lines, rather than just making someone up from scratch.
Yeah, they're all perfectly reasonable complaints.
They need to start treating it like comic book films, where they still introduce these characters, but they give like a little bit of fan service of like teasing towards them, and like, if you know more about the lore of this character, you will be rewarded for it, but we won't leave people who don't know about it in the dark.
You know who wouldn't have taken any of that shit? Headmaster Patrick Elliott from USA High.
You didn't even give me a chance to sigh. Because I knew this is where you were going.
Rockin' at USA High. Rockin' at USA High. You can run home anytime you wanna. I am here to stay. Don't have no reservation. Come join the band, feel the vibration. We can turn this school into a congregation. Rockin' at USA High. Rockin' at USA High. Rockin' at USA High. We're gonna be rockin' at USA High. Rockin' at USA High. Rockin' at USA High.
And welcome back to us discussing USA High.
The extreme quality sitcom made for the
Extreme.
USA Network on
Extreme-
cable in the
extreme
90s.
quality.
On cable. Basic
Okay.
cable.
Don't slag this show, okay? I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna give the.
I don't know what you
facts.
want the next half hour to be about.
If I'm not allowed to slag this show, I don't know what you're gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna give the vital facts about this show, okay?
I think you should, because I'll just fill them like,
You'll fill them with
Derogatory
deceitful,
lies.
horrible lies.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll jump in with some though. Don't worry.
I'll sprinkle some lies.
Sprinkle some
Um,
lies.
So okay, USA High. This is an American teen sitcom that ran from 1997 until 1999.
2 years too long.
2 years too long. 2 seasons with a total of 95 episodes. Because, dear Christ, that was how things worked back then.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was produced and created by Peter Engel. Excuse me. Produced and created by Peter Engel, who is the same guy who made Saved by the Bell. Now, he also made shows like California Dreams, Hang Time, City Guys, and so on. A lot of other teen sitcoms that I'm sure we will discuss in this show.
I mean that weird
However-
Malibu CA show as
Yeah.
well.
This is, however, Peter Engel's career took a turning point after Saved by the Bell: The College Years, which he also made, but that was a massive flop when compared to California Dreams, Saved by the Bell, City Guys, and Hang Time.
For various reasons, not because it was necessarily bad, just
Yeah,
for various like
for various reasons.
stupid scheduling ideas and stuff.
Not related to him, yeah. But Saved by the Bell: College Years was a flop.
Peter Engel can do no wrong. Not related to Peter Engel.
We'll have
All
no
hail
such
Peter
talk.
Engel.
I have no such talk about Engel here. Mr. Engel. We can't call him Peter. We have not reached his level yet.
We call him the Eng.
Eng. But yeah, so after Saved by the Bell: College Years, which flopped, he didn't do so well, and he produced 2 shows post the College Years, which was Malibu CA and this very show, USA High. USA High was about 6 friends who lived, if that sounds familiar to anyone, enrolled in an American Academy boarding school in Paris, France. There was 95 episodes, 75 episodes in season 1, and then 20 episodes in season 2. At the end of season 1, they very much jumped the shark.
Yeah.
But we'll get onto that later. As far as I know, no one in the show went on to do anything worthwhile. When I was watching this episode with...
Well, I'm sure they have like children or whatever, like, you know,
Yeah.
worthwhile in the
Okay,
broader sense of the
worthwhile-
term. Worthwhile in the entertainment industry.
worthwhile in the terms of career-orientated entertainment industry. I'm sure they're all lovely people. They make fantastic brownies and have wonderful kids.
Well,
But
James Madio was in the guy who played Laz was in Band of Brothers,
that's fair.
and like he like was a memorable character.
The only-
watching this, I was like, oh, that's that guy from Band of Brothers. Like he was recognizable. I think he still does
Okay.
stuff like
Okay, fair
Like,
enough. I did not
uh,
recognize him.
background roles in like various shows that have lots of turnover of people.
Fair
Like,
enough. And the only
CSI
name
and stuff.
that like I didn't recognize any of the names, but I watched like an episode with my fiance, and she recognized the name Christian Miller, who plays Ashley Elliott, and she's like, I recognize that name. And then we looked at IMDb, and like, no, she's not in anything. And the most notable thing she was in She Spies, which seems to. Okay, do you know that company that makes like all those shark movies and all those like knockoff movies like Transmorphers and stuff like that?
Yeah, that company.
Yeah, She Spies is their answer to Charlie's Angels.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in that.
You know what though? MGM distributed that. They're reputable.
Yeah.
They clearly didn't make it. Just they were clearly not involved with producing it anyway.
Reputable is a term and a half.
They have a
Other-
casino, Kieran. Casinos are reputable.
So other than that, the episode, the show itself didn't really get much recognition. All I remember of the show is that it was played on Nickelodeon during the hours of like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. like during autumn, winter, and spring, when the majority of Nickelodeon UK, I should say, audience was in school
Okay.
and they didn't give a fuck what they were playing.
This probably explains why I probably
Yeah.
didn't remember. Like when you brought this up as a possible show, I was just like, USA what? That means nothing to me. And then I looked it up and I was like, this looks sort of familiar, but like this could be anything.
Yeah, that's fair. I also brought this up at like the party I was just at, and none of them remembered this, and none of them remembered even things like TCC. And I found out that everyone's like, Ireland is kind of a mess when it comes to like communications and media and stuff like that.
They don't remember TCC.
No, they don't. Kat, Diarmid, Phil, Luke, everyone just in column just insist it doesn't exist.
They probably all had like Sky or whatever then.
Okay, Kat and Diarmid did, but the others had like basic television, and they were like, "No, I don't know what this is."
Yeah, but you had to have like you had to have like cable television. If you had normal television, you still wouldn't have had it. You had to have like whatever
we
was
had,
cable link is what it was called at the time.
it was like cable. Oh, no, it was like Basic Plus or something, where we had like all the
Okay,
basic
yeah.
channels and then like two more.
Yeah.
Okay, things I haven't realized from watching a couple of episodes of USA High is that I seem to have watched every episode of USA High.
So you remember it.
I remember all of them.
Were you extremely sick as a child? So
I
you were
was.
always home watching TV.
I was always home. No, the thing is, I think I was like home once or twice. Like
And-
when I lived in
Ye-
Limerick, I was like home once or twice,
Okay.
sick from school,
Yeah.
and then that was enough to see every episode of USA High.
Yeah.
Because it filled like 4 blocks of television. Because unfortunately, me and Hugh could not find the pilot episode of the show.
Yeah.
However,
As in, like, it doesn't exist.
it does not exist on the internet. However, I did find a synopsis for it, and I remember it entirely.
Oh, okay. I found the synopsis. I found like a synopsis for it as well, and I was just kind of like, that explains a lot of what's going on, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that helpful.
Yeah, so, okay, to go through the synopsis of the first episode, just very briefly. Old friends Lauren Fontaine, Winnie Barnes, and Bobby Lazzarini, all Americans, are reunited with Christian Mueller, a German, and Ashley Elliott, a British person, as a new school year begins for them at the American school in Paris, in France. All the students are away from their parents except Ashley, whose father is headmaster at the school. They all live in a suite for 6, with the girls' room on one side and the boys on the other.
Which I would like to jump in and say that is like the main plot of this show.
We'll get back to that. And a large common room in between. This year there is a new roommate, Jackson Green, another American. At first, Jackson does not fit in well at the academy or with his new suite mates, and he wants to leave the school. But he finds a couple of causes worth fighting for: getting rid of school uniforms and making Lauren his girlfriend. I remember the school uniform thing where he puts like a whole bunch of dyes, like color dyes, into the washing machine to make all the color, like... Okay, yeah. Even as a child, I remember this was absolute bullshit. We put just like a bunch of red dye into the washing machines, and then all the like school uniforms, which were grey and white, very like Christian Catholic school uniforms.
Yeah.
People who lived in Ireland and England are probably very familiar with them. And turns them all very psychedelic colours, like very manufactured psychedelic colours. It didn't work like that. I just knew from seeing it, it didn't work like that.
I'm just imagining like 9-year-old Kieran sitting on a couch, really sick, just being like, I call bullshit on that.
I was very artistic from a young age. Yeah. I understood fabrics.
I know how colours work, idiots.
But like, yeah, it was
Get
silly.
it together, the Eng. or Pete, as your friends call you.
Pete. Pete, Eng. But yeah, like it was kind of ridiculous, but like that was the pilot, and I'd seen that episode before. I remembered it, and then like at the end, Jackson is reassured that he should stay in the college because he finds out that the headmaster of the college was very much like him when he was younger, and stuff like that. So yeah,
that's pretty deep.
It's deep, yeah. It's a little bit of still a circular. It's nice.
It's a good thing they seem to never mention that again.
Yeah, they don't. We'll get into that. So, since we weren't able to find the pilot, we agreed upon watching 3 episodes, which we will discuss. But yeah, do you remember the show at all after reading the synopsis of the pilot?
I don't remember any specifics of episodes. The show looks very familiar, however, and like certain aspects of it do seem very familiar, but not in a... I don't explicitly remember it, per se.
Okay.
It kind of looks like the kind of thing that if it was on, I'd be like, oh yeah, this thing looks kind of like something I may have seen before, but I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it. I still can't tell you anything like other than stuff from the episodes I've seen.
That's fair. I also want to say before we move on to the actual like nitty-gritty details of the actual show, that this was intended for NBC's Saturday morning lineup, the TNBC lineup, but did not make it to that lineup. It was a part of the USA Network, and which is a cable network show, as you said. And yeah, didn't really make it beyond that.
The USA Network makes like some alright things now.
Yeah.
Like Suits.
Yeah.
And do they? No, it's a different channel. Never mind.
Okay, so yeah, moving on to the actual nitty-gritty of the details. So the 3 episodes we watched were The Credit Card, which I believe is season 1, episode 3.
Yep.
And we watched Goodbye Laz, which is season 1, episode 75, which was the last episode of season 1. There was 75 episodes in season 1.
Pretty emotional episode.
It is a pretty emotional episode. And then Hey Big Spender, which is season 2, episode 12.
I like how you picked like 2 episodes of very strong financial moral, as if like you were trying to tell me that I manage my finances badly or something.
No, that was purely like I found 1 episode online, and then YouTube was like, here's 2 related videos, and I was like, okay.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That takes away a lot of the mystery of your thought process.
But I felt like Goodbye Laz was a good episode to talk about, and
yeah,
then getting a flavour of season 1 and season 2 respectively was...
Yeah, that's probably good.
Okay, so let's start with the season 1, episode 3, The Credit Card.
So, like, your one has a credit card and is bad at using it.
Okay, so Winnie Which we should say is the token black girl in the show.
Yeah, well, I guess. She's not really token, though, because everyone's token. As in, like, so none of the characters are from, like, it would be token if they were all, like, from one place, and there was just one black person there. However, in this case, like, Laz is, like, from New York, and clearly from New York.
He's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, like, he's clearly from Brooklyn. He mentions it a lot as well.
Yeah.
There's the German guy, who you could argue is the token German guy at the international school.
Yes. I feel like there is disproportionately a lot of Americans at what I hope isn't actually called USA High. I hope it isn't actually called that as an institution.
The thing is, though, like, if it's not called USA High, these schools, I think this is quite a clever setup for, like, an alternative place for one of these shows to happen, because these schools do exist.
Yeah.
Like, one of our friends went to one for years. I'll tell you later.
Okay, cool.
You probably know, it doesn't matter.
I actually can't figure out who you're talking about.
Yeah. But, like, people like this, like, it's usually, they exist. There's one in Dublin as well. Just like where all the diplomats' kids go and stuff.
Well, hang on, the Institute is kind of like that. I went to that.
The Institute is kind of like that, but I mean, like, there's ones for, like, the younger kids of people who are, like, who work in the country. It's like people who go to like Andrews and do the international baccalaureate instead of actually doing the Leaving Cert. There's lots of, like,
Europe is crazy.
These schools exist, and there are, like, boarding schools in France and whatnot that are, like, English speaking schools.
Yeah.
For Americans and other people who speak English who happen to live there. Yeah, it's for diplomats and, like, international business people.
English is still the most commonly spoken language in Europe, so, like, it is a common kind of grounds for a lot of diplomats and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, like, that makes perfect sense. So I think that's, like, I thought overall it's quite a clever overall concept. So I don't think it's fair to call her Winnie the token black girl, is my point. to come full circle to that, because like, she's like, it would be much weirder if there were, like, all of the characters were black at this random boarding school and there were no non-Americans. Yeah,
like, at the same time, like, based on the fact that it's Peter Engel and he works on the model of, like, Saved by the Bell.
Are you dissing Pete? Is that what you're saying? We've been over this, Kieran. There's no dissing Pete on this podcast.
I'm just like, this is very much the Lisa Turtle in terms of, like, character niche, because she's
also very like Lisa Turtle. Let's say that now.
Yeah, she is, like, a kind of obsessed with fashion, and you see this in this episode and stuff like that. But at the same time, she also uses a lot of, like, kind of African American. I mean that in, like, not the sensitive way, but I actually mean the black population of the United States in a very kind of, like, stereotypical way. She says things like girl. She's very tough, independent. She actually, like, very expressively beats on people, particularly Laz, quite a lot in the
Christian.
show.
She beats on Christian, the German guy.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's a massive sleaze.
He's a bit of a sleaze.
Also, she has this amazing line, which when she said it, I was just like, boom, references, like, current references. She was like, there's more people standing in line than at a Boyz II Men's concert. I was like, boom, references.
Yeah,
Boyz II Men, I get your references.
The bands they reference in the show are just brilliant. We'll get to that. She is good character. Like, I mean that in most honestly. Definitely had moved on from Lisa Turtle. Lisa Turtle was a bit more black token than Winnie is. Winnie had a bit more personality than Lisa did.
Okay, so this episode is about, like, her accidentally spending too much money on her credit card. Didn't Lisa Turtle do that?
I think that's also yeah.
That's a Saved by the Bell episode. That happened. That definitely happened. Yeah, because I remember it. There's, like, the end scene is, like, she has to talk to her father.
Weird Peter Engel racism where it's like, black people can't control their money according to Peter Engel. It's like, oh no, Peter, what are you saying?
I think he probably, like, his wife is black or something, and he's just like, honey, you know, you've seen this new episode of my show.
Say, I really want you to watch this new episode of this teen sitcom I wrote. You did this to me like 10 years ago. I was like,
yes, it's become a problem again, dear.
What a weird picture we're painting for this man.
He's our idol, Kieran, our idol. He makes everything we love. Anyway, yeah, so basically, I did not realize that till just now. That is actually just the exact storyline for A. And it's with the same, like, character, like, pigeonhole he's filling. Anyway.
But I was thinking about this actually earlier with Save the Bell. That, like, Lisa Turtle actually has quite a bit of personality and motive as well. But I would argue that Kelly Kapowski is actually the girl character in that show that has absolutely no personality whatsoever. But we'll discuss that one day when we discuss Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
Some things I want to talk about. First of all, as I've probably mentioned to you before, and I'm not entirely sure if I mentioned on this podcast, I've often contemplated the idea of a pan-European sitcom.
You don't need to, because you now have USA High to watch.
It doesn't count because there's too many Americans in it. But the idea would be that, like, there is just all these Europeans who hang out for whatever reason, you know, in like the future where European integration has worked or whatever. And they're all like speaking their own languages, but they all understand each other, like it's the Galactic Senate or whatever. But like this kind of seems, this kind of seems like this would be like the successful format of that.
They're all at a international school somewhere.
In an international school somewhere. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they also have some like the entire crux of the show seems to be German jokes. There's a lot of German jokes where they're just like, okay, the German jokes are basically German people don't get jokes.
That's pretty much Christian's character.
Yeah.
Someone says something that's supposed to be sarcastic, and he just like takes it as true.
That's literal,
it's like a pretty standard thing.
Something as sarcastic or innuendo or like some sort of kind of colourful use of language, and he's just like, no, actually, and he's just like, oh no.
But a lot of the jokes are also like, it's about, I think it's like most of the jokes are American stereotypes of the non-American characters are what a lot of the jokes are, and Winnie being like not like Peter Engels, you know, prototypical person. With character development.
But like, okay, first of all, there is a disproportionate amount of Americans in this show that kind of really makes sense, but I guess it is called USA High.
Yeah. Also, they use dollars.
Yeah, okay, I actually had that as one of my notes.
In France.
In France, they use a lot of dollars in this
France,
show.
Pre-Euro, so it's not even that like they would have been using a currency with a
francs.
Directly comparable like breakdown of cents and whatnot.
It's so ridiculous.
They use dollars. It would have been so easy to have just not done that. Okay,
so yeah, the dollar thing does come up, and I think that comes up a lot more in like other episodes. I'll get back to that.
No, it comes up a lot in the damn episode about her spending too much money, because they keep talking about how much money they need to get, and they're just like, oh, we need $600 more, everyone.
It's just like the next episode with Goodbye Laz, because the subplot of Goodbye Laz is that for whatever reason the headmaster invites all the students, and by all the students I mean the guys who live in this dorm who they're friends with for some reason, to go along to a bid.
It's a bid, a bid for art.
Bid for art, where he has to find a present for that woman he likes who's not French. She's totally not French. I don't get where this woman comes from. They found a swimsuit model and told her to be French, and she's putting on some sort of accent. She's not French. Miss Dupre. What?
Oh wow! Do you know like what you just said about her being a supermodel? She is from the Netherlands, She's the first woman from the Netherlands to win Miss Universe. She
Is
won
she?
it in 1989, and she went on to be in USA High.
Okay. Want to make the point? Still not French.
No, as in, like, I'm telling you, she's, like, genuinely not French.
Yeah,
She's from the Netherlands. She's Dutch.
That being said, I'll get back to this. Major props, because the guy who plays Christian Mueller, aka Thomas Megier, is actually from Arbrook, Saxony, Germany. He's actually German.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is damn good for an American produced show.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll probably discuss this as we go on with this podcast series, but fucking Christ, the Americans do not get people of the actual ethnicity they are looking for when, like, making characters, as illustrated quite nicely by a woman from the Netherlands who's supposed to be a French person.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's definitely closer than if they just, like, had an American non-French
it is.
descent woman.
It's closer if they had someone from America, but it's still, there's two countries in between Netherlands and France.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I understand your problem with her accent. That's fine.
She's not a French accent.
Is
But,
the girl who plays the English girl is
Is she English?
I don't
Is
think
that what you're
so. Which character name is that?
Christian Miller? I don't think so. She's not
Christian
English.
Miller.
Yeah,
No, she's not English.
American.
Because, like, her English accent is very bad.
Yeah, she's from California. It's a very hackneyed English accent. It's like, it's as you loosely describe the United Kingdom to someone, that's the accent they make, kind of thing. It's
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah. It's very Queen's English, very proper, very Oxford, very well educated, kind of, not representative of the entire country as a whole.
I live in Cambridge. A lot of people do sound like that where I work.
That's a fair point, but that's Cambridge. It's also a very well educated Queen's English kind of area.
When I don't feel well, people are just like, "Are you feeling poorly?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you mean."
What is this moon speak you speak?
Is this sarcasm? I can't tell.
The Irish. We're just so
we just can't handle the words that aren't the words we use.
we are so culturally on, like, borders where we can just we can slag Americans, we can slag British, and no one will just ever attack us. It's brilliant.
People insult my voice all the time.
Oh yeah, but that's because you live in England. I live in Ireland.
Oh yeah,
still.
okay, fine. Yeah, no one's gonna insult you.
I live in Ireland still. Everyone's, like, totally okay with me.
People aren't grossly offended by what you say,
Exactly.
except for, the content of it.
Yeah. But anyway, 2 points I want to make before we discuss any further of, like, the actual show details. The intro of the show is 90s as fuck.
Also, the, like, interludes between scenes is the best thing ever.
Oh my
Just,
God,
like,
I have
the
that.
scene ends and they're just like, wow, guitar,
Exactly,
just guitar
it's
solo.
Let's have a lovely shot of some French metropolitan scenery, and then wow, like, over it. And like,
It's so good because it makes no sense.
hang on. My note exactly on this, word for word, is that transition music is brill, all caps, French scenery, guitar solo, exclamation point, end all caps.
The note I took from when they first introduced the French teacher, like, quote unquote French teacher, the Dutch teacher,
Mr. Gray.
I just wrote down a French person in France. Because it had,
What
like,
madness
gone
is
quite
this?
into the episode before there was a French person or anyone who in any way spoke of a French accent. No one speaks French. She speaks French, actually.
Oh, that's a fair
Sometimes.
point.
But no one else speaks French.
That was in the credit card. The first time you hear, like, anyone who's remotely really French is the waiter,
yeah,
at the
who just
restaurant.
has this, like, really weird French accent.
which is actually really common in, like, early 90s, like, media from America, where all waiters were just French for some reason.
Yeah.
Because of cuisine and stuff like that, I suppose.
I suppose it makes sense in this context because
It makes a lot more sense in this context because they're meant to be in France, but they're also in this weird enclave where like this restaurant exists in this English-speaking, dollar-using part of France, Paris, France, where everyone speaks English, even though they're all probably French.
Also, the cafe they go to is called Cafe USA. They
Exactly.
live in Paris, and like instead of doing something like Parisian, they just go to a cafe called Cafe USA.
Well, actually, everything Parisian they do is like in photos that you never actually see close-ups of.
Yeah.
And I think it's in Hey Big Spender, or possibly Goodbye Laz, and one of the other episodes we watched where they're discussing is like, here's me and Winnie, or here's Winnie and Ashley having fun on like, and then they name something in France.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't
They're just
show the actual photo.
Here we are at the Champs-Elysees. It's like,
And here,
yeah, that's a place in Paris. Well done.
it's like, here we are at the Eiffel Tower. I was like, okay, a little bit obvious, but okay.
I had forgotten this show took place in France.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that in this show.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that applies to all episodes, I suppose, which is, and this is something I noticed as a young person, which made me question my sexuality quite a bit.
Was that
Nicholas
Christian
Guest.
is really
Okay, no, Nicholas Guest, the guy who plays a headmaster, in the opening sequence, looks a lot better. Like, looks really good looking compared to what he looks like in the show.
yeah.
We have those close-ups of his face, and he's like this kind of very esteemed-looking individual with glasses, and you're just like, and now, welcome to the show where he's a bumbling idiot.
That might just not be him then.
Yeah, probably.
He had like an extra role in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Are you serious?
Yes, he was one of like the background cadet people.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I also love the fact that his name is Nicholas Guest. I love him as a bit actor. That
Yeah,
is the best
he's
thing to
Nicholas
be.
Guest. He's great as a guest.
He's the best bit actor that has ever existed. But like, okay, hang on. Okay, yeah, this is a question that I think you brought up to me on Facebook a couple of times, but I have to address now.
Yeah.
Why are these people here? Why are these people here?
So many questions.
Why are these people here? It's like, why are these people in this like international, very well established, very well funded secondary school, high school? Why are these people here?
So many questions.
So here's the evidence I found, and I hope I want you to corroborate with me here, okay?
Okay.
So is Winnie's dad is rich, but also in the Marines.
Okay.
Those don't really relate to each other because U.S. military career people tend not to be very rich.
Yeah.
Like, stable in their career, but not rich.
Maybe he's like posted in France
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
for some reason. Or maybe he works in like like at an air base in Germany or something. They've got that big military hospital.
Well, for everyone who doesn't know, the entire European Union basically relies on NATO, which is an American organized institution of military defense. So it makes sense for like military people to be based in various European countries.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's believable, but never explained. The only one that really is explained, Ashley's dad is the headmaster of the school in question.
Yeah.
You see him, he's a recurring character. He's a main character. There are 8 main characters in the show, which are the 6 students, Miss Dupre, and the headmaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Miss Dupre.
Miss Dupre.
The Dutch woman who speaks French.
The Dutch/French person. European, whatever.
She's generic European,
Generic European.
to say the least.
Oh god. The 90s. And then Laz's parents, Bobby Lazzarini,
They're
Are-
like traveling ice skating people.
They're touring ice dancers,
Yep.
which is the best reason to have your kid in a French international school.
Yes.
It's the best.
It's the
After
best
that-
and most believable.
After that, I have no idea why Christian Mueller, Lauren, or Jackson are in the school.
Yeah, I imagine it must be brought up in one of the other like 70 episodes of the first season.
That is a fair point. We should probably watch all 70 episodes before we discuss this topic. We won't.
Yeah, we
But-
won't. Definitely not.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about the first episode. Is there anything else you want to say about the credit card?
Yeah, like one of their plans to get money is to clean loads of people's rooms. And
Well, because the headmaster on a whim brings in this whole whole rule that if your room isn't clean, he's going to give you a weekend suspension.
yeah, so they go around cleaning other people's rooms, which good idea. That's quite clever. However, they're not supposed to be doing it because like people are supposed to clean their own rooms in the boarding school,
Yeah.
and instead of like the way they get caught is because they bring all of the rubbish from everyone's room to their room
For some reason.
instead of just throwing it out somewhere else and
The
actually
bins
cleaning
that are
up.
probably provided.
Instead of cleaning up, they just moved everything to their room.
Yeah. And then they get weekend suspension.
Why
This
would you
actually-
bring bags of garbage to your own house?
Weekend suspension, actually, that little terminology right there, I feel like is one of the biggest flaws of this show,
Okay.
which is boarding schools in the 90s being phased out of Europe, which is where boarding schools were quite popular. Not really heard of at all in the United States, boarding schools.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was an issue because there was a huge disconnect between the actual audience and the characters and setting of this show. Like,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
how
boarding schools do exist in the US. They have they have a lot of quite big academies and stuff.
Yeah,
that are
but
quite
no-
like
not common enough for like this to be like, oh, everyone will be able to relate to this. Like, weekend suspension is essentially the same as grounding in terms of like, not grounding, sorry. What's that called again? Detention. In terms of boarding schools, because the school in question is actually in control of your weekend time because you're boarding there. You're there at the weekends, and weekend schools that are quite liberal usually give you free reign at the weekends where you can go out to the shops and to restaurants and do what you want with your free time at the weekends because, you know, it's the weekend. But they might like actually hold you back as punishment kind of thing. But like, I don't think anyone really got that who didn't have like grow up in a world like we grew up in Ireland where like a good few of our friends went to boarding school. Like, people went to Rathdown boarding school and stuff like that we know of.
yeah.
That's like a thing here, but like I'm not sure if it's that big a thing in the States.
I think it's less of a thing, but I think
yeah,
like you do
It
like it does
exists,
exist. Like there's a lot of like American movies about like boarding schools and whatnot.
but it's all. But like I feel like those American movies about boarding schools and stuff like that, it's kind of introduced as a foreign concept. Like,
Yeah.
I have to go to boarding school. What? And it's kind of like that kind of thing,
yeah.
rather than just this is a day-to-day kind of routine.
I think a lot of like expensive prep schools are boarding schools.
Okay.
I think that is quite common. I think like I'm trying to think of the movie that I'm thinking of. Matt Damon's in it.
Oh my god. Good Will Hunting.
No, not Good Will Hunting. Not Good Will Hunting. I'll tell
I
you.
have no idea what you're thinking.
It doesn't matter, but it's about a boarding school anyway.
Okay.
Like it's about like a secondary school boarding school in America. I think a lot of like the old big prep schools are actually
Yeah.
boarding schools.
It's very institution. It's very kind of like
Yeah, like they do
Upper
exist.
class
It's
in the
probably not
States.
it's probably not to the same extent, but I would argue it's maybe to a similar extent.
It seems like a bit of a gamble for like TV back in those days, which was kind of like the idea that you had to appeal to everyone.
Yeah, School Ties was the name of this movie.
Okay.
It's quite good. It's about anti-Semitism in boarding
Anyway.
schools. Brendan Fraser's in it. It's very good.
Oh my god. Anyway, Brendan Fraser and oh god. Anyway. So the next episode we watched was season 1, episode 75, which is the last episode of season 1.
Yeah,
It's called Goodbye Laz. And
Laz
you're probably
leaves. It's very emotional.
yeah, you can guess what happens. Bobby Lazzarini leaves. This I think is kind of jump the shark moment.
Okay, explain.
Because okay, I probably actually can't explain until the next episode we discuss. But basically, Laz because of the whole like 3 guys, 3 girls kind of format that the show takes. When Laz leaves, they replace him with another guy
Yes.
who is kind of shallow and stupid as a character. His name is Excess.
I never caught his name.
His name was Excess. He
I'm
was
sorry.
a black guy.
What?
Yeah, he was a black guy with a rap as ass fucking sounding name because Jesus Christ, stereotypes.
You do need the stereotypes, in fairness, like
Oh,
to
God.
fit
Why
in.
was his name Excess?
Fit in Enge's world.
Oh my god, it was so ridiculous.
What?
Anyway,
I can't believe his name was Excess. Oh,
yeah,
I did not like. He didn't talk a lot in the only episodes I watched of him in it, so I never really.
the one episode.
I never took the time to figure out what his name was because it wasn't important. Excess.
Excess. Anyway, moving.
Dwayne Excess Wilson.
Yeah, let's
Why
talk
would you
about.
call him Excess?
We'll get to that in a minute. Goodbye, Laz. The episode about Laz leaving. Okay, first of all, in this last episode, they kind of established what has already been kind of already alluded to in very kind of Friends-like fashion. Which is, okay, so Lauren and Jackson were on a bit of a will they, won't they situation.
Yeah.
Christian, the German guy, and Winnie were kind of on a will they, won't they for about 5 seconds, and then they do.
Yeah.
So at this point, they're in their relationship. They're kind of the established relationship, and they very much play the role of Jesse Spano and AC Slater in terms of like comparing this with Saved by the Bell. You can actually compare a lot of what happens
Christian's
in the
muscular.
show. Yes, Christian is muscular, and they establish a relationship who, while they kind of butt heads a lot of the time, they eventually learn to love each other, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can compare a lot of what happens in the show with Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
So at the end, just because they're left to their own devices and they have to be paired off eventually, is Ashley Elliott and Bobby Lazzarini, and they have to get together. And in this episode, both Bobby and Ashley reveal to each other they like each other,
Yeah.
and they date for about 5 seconds before Bobby's mom comes in and is just like, "We're going back to Brooklyn and we're going to start our own ice rink."
Ice rink. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. First of all, I want to say all the roommates paired off quite nicely.
They
A
did.
little too nicely.
Yeah.
Not to mention that Miss Dupre and the headmaster eventually become an item. They all paired off quite nicely.
Like, people would just have so many problems with like three couples living, like three underage couples living together at a boarding school.
Shacking up. Like, yeah. It's a bit of an issue. At the same time, I really want to get past this as like what I consider to myself to be a very modern thinking individual, but Laz is shorter than Ashley, and it bothers me.
That bothers you.
That bothers me. Like, Laz is distinctly shorter than Ashley. They make various jokes, particularly in the credit card episodes, about how Laz is so short.
He is kind of short.
He is very short, there's no denying that, but like at the same time he gets with a girl who's a good bit taller than him, and it's like, it's kind of weird looking. I don't know.
She's probably the shortest of the girls, though.
She is the shortest of the girls, and it's probably why they were paired off together. What other points I want to make with this episode? The headmaster is really chummy with everyone in that whole dorm.
Yeah, but
He just walks in and was like, I'm going to an art bid exhibition thing where I need to find a present for Miss Dupre to impress her because I like her. And I was like, why do you want us to come along? I was like, I think you're intelligent, accomplished young individuals. And was like, and Winnie, like being the sassy girl she is,
she's so sassy
because typecasting. Was just like, you don't have any friends, do you? And he's like, not a one. And like, when did this happen that the headmaster is just buds with everyone? This is great. When did this happen in Save the Bell, where Mr. Belding and like Zach Morris go to the Max together or something like that?
That would be so weird.
That'd be so good. Did you ever get that odd, unsettling feeling where you ever saw Mr. Belding at the Max and he was like, what are you doing here?
How did you find this secret place?
This is sacred ground. But yeah. And my last point about like the first act of this whole show, when they get to the exhibition, is, for anyone who doesn't know, France is the second most stubborn country in the world about using their own language. The first most being any English speaking country, but the French do not like speaking any other language than French. No. Why the fuck in this show are they just all speaking English for no reason?
Yeah, I suppose most of the characters are just like, or most of the scenes happen within the school, like in their room normally, or most of the scenes.
That's fair, but then they go to the exhibition that's not on school grounds or any way related to the school, and then they're all just speaking English. The French...
They have French accents though, Kieran.
They have French accents.
Which is the same as speaking French.
It is not. The French, in particular, the Parisians,
yes,
hate speaking English.
Yes, especially the Parisians.
Oh my god, that was kind of. I also sorry. There's this whole little scene where there's a bidding war, but really it's Winnie and Lauren who are bidding for the headmaster, and like at the end when they bid $1,000, he's just like staring off into space like, oh my god, that's how much money I spent.
That's all my money.
That's all my money because I'm a headmaster and public education doesn't pay that well.
This is definitely not public education.
No, this is very private education. But like when that happens, I would love if they were just like, we'll pay $1,000, and they're like, everyone was like, and I always love it. The guy who was like organizing the whole exhibition was just like, actually, this entire bid has been in francs.
Yeah,
I really thought you guys were bidding in francs. It was like, when you shouted 600, I thought you meant 600 francs.
Yeah,
which is like $7.
1,000 francs. That's great.
That's a tenner.
Yeah.
But yeah. But also in the Goodbye Laz episode, because the Goodbye Laz episode was the episode where I realized Laz was from Brooklyn. Like, you get it from his accent and stuff like that, but then his mom expressly mentions Brooklyn quite a bit. Quite a bit. I would really love if Christian, the German guy, just turned around and was like, where the fuck is Brooklyn? Yeah. Because, like, okay, it's fine. All German people know where America is. All German people know where New York is. Brooklyn might be a bit of a stretch. Perhaps a bit of a stretch. I know Brooklyn exists. I couldn't point to it on a map.
I'm definitely aware of it.
I know it's in New York.
Yep.
But like, I'm just surprised they didn't like latch on that joke opportunity of just like the German doesn't know where like the kind of county orientated politics of the United States, which is a totally reasonable and understandable thing for a German not to know. Ask any American what Bavaria is, and I'm sure they will have equally good answers to that question.
Yes. That's very good. That had not occurred to me as an issue, just because like American media
Yeah, right.
Brooklyn, wash over it.
Yeah, Brooklyn is the United States. It's the capital of the United States of America. Did you not know that?
I was unaware.
And then then that the goodbye scene with Laz also takes forever.
It does. He is to like have a moment with every character.
He does, and I did not, because okay, we skipped from episode 3 of season 1 to episode 75. I had not developed an emotional attachment to Laz as the series was like presenting it to me.
Oh, Huron, so I wonder why.
I was like, okay, Laz is going, whatever, fuck off. So I wasn't as attached to him as everyone else seemed to be in the show. Like, Miss Dupree comes along and it was like, I had the hots for you all along, essentially. And it was like,
she's just like, you're my favorite student. And like forever. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then they never mentioned him again.
Also, like, this is the first instance, because again, we only watched episode 3 and then episode like mid 70s. Yeah. This is the first time like Jackson expressed feelings about anything.
Yeah, where he's like, he doesn't want to give the big long goodbye that everyone else does because he doesn't want to accept that Laz is leaving. That's kind of like the...
But the way he expresses that is, I'm not used to showing these kind of feelings to a man because he's a homophobe.
Yeah, this
so
is
we
all very...
we learn a lot about Jackson in this episode.
This is all very early... Like, okay, for a show that came out late 90s, this is very early 90s. Of like, I can't show feelings to a man. Or it's perfectly late 90s where the like overly emotional man kind of caricature of 90s males starts to become something to repress again. I don't know. But it's just so unusual because the whole thing of Jackson not willing to show his emotions to Laz because he's living sounds like it should be something that overarched the whole episode.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It just happens in one 5-second instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous. And the best bit is when he's saying goodbye to Ashley, who's established a relationship with in this episode. And it's all very emotional because he's leaving and stuff like that. And then he wasn't leaving, but then he finds out his family really miss him, so then he is leaving. It's like,
so many emotions.
I wrote you this letter. And he gives her the letter and she just reads it and it just says Dear Ashley. It was like, yeah, I'm sorry, my mom came over early. I didn't get a chance to finish it, which is kind of funny. Like, I actually really liked that. But then he just goes, I think Dear Ashley says it all. I was like, fuck, it does.
Oh, but Kieran, the emotions.
No, there's no emotions. They're lying.
As in, like, she's his dear Ashley. Like, she's dear to him. Do you get it? Do you get what I mean?
You could stretch that to a paragraph at the very least.
Dear Ashley, you're great. Laz.
You're swell. I really like you. I like you more than I like popcorn.
Have you noticed your English? Where in England are you supposed to be from?
It's never expressed. I'm from Brooklyn.
I mentioned it before. I'm from Brooklyn.
Anything else you want to say about the episode Goodbye Laz?
No.
Okay. Next episode.
Oh god.
Hey Big Spender. Season 2, episode 12 of 20.
With new emotionless character introduced.
Excess.
Why is his name Excess?
I don't know.
So stupid.
Dwayne is his actual name, but he's called Excess.
He's the same name as The Rock.
He does. He also has a nickname like The Rock. Okay, so his name is Excess. He's the new guy. He has some jokes. He doesn't quite fit into the same character role that Laz does. Laz was like USA High Screech. Yeah. This guy's a little too cool to be USA High Screech.
Yes.
This is the episode where I notice everyone uses fucking dollars.
This is the episode
in Paris. Well, it's just like Because at this point, Lauren is now working for Cafe USA.
Who pay her in dollars.
Yes, who pay her in dollars, and she also gets tips in dollars.
Yeah.
That seems a little more ludicrous to me. Would there not be like one Parisian who comes off the street and is just like, I'm going to tip this person in francs and possibly pay for my bill in francs?
Dear God, no.
No, that doesn't happen apparently.
That's ridiculous. What are you talking about?
My third note about this episode is just I wrote in all lowercase, I miss Laz.
Yeah, actually, like, that was kind of noticeable.
That he was gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is actually quite noticeable. He's a very good character. I wonder why the reason he left was.
Well, like, he's the only one who's been in, like, legitimate things otherwise.
That's fair. And, like, the show knew when it was getting cancelled.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, because episode 20 of season 2, the last episode, is graduation, where they all graduate.
So what year was the
Well, was the year was the last episode?
Yeah.
1999.
Okay, so Band of Brothers came out in 2001, I think.
Okay.
So they might have been shooting that already.
That's fair.
That would have taken that probably was shooting for
or
about a
he
year.
might have had hints that he was on to something better, kind of thing, I guess. But like, yeah, they knew they were.
As in, like, that was the next thing he was in. So I'd say he
Yeah.
probably left because
he was on to better things.
he was on to better things. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, they knew they were ending.
Mm-hmm.
So like, because they were able to write, produce, and shoot an episode where they tie up the entire series with them graduating. So
Yeah.
they knew they were ending. It wasn't sudden cancellation.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hope for more episodes.
That's fine.
Kind of like, yeah, that's good, and that's interesting. They knew that, but that wasn't happening. That wasn't happening at the end of season 1.
Yeah, it's
the
kind
show-
of weird that they made.
The show knew it was carrying on, so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just Laz leaving because he knew it was a sinking ship kind of thing. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, or maybe he did, and he was convinced by everyone around him saying it wasn't a sinking ship,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, at this point in the series, you now realize that Miss Dupre and the headmaster are now an item. With one of the subplots being they are going to have their first official date.
Ooh, official.
Yes, but the headmaster gets sick.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah.
The thing I've noticed about this episode, which wasn't as big a thing, like with sitcoms, you'd normally have like an A and B storyline. You would less so have like a C storyline that has like a big thing running through it.
Yeah, that's actually something I noticed with the show overall.
It would always have. I think it was probably because it was 8 actual main characters who were like a part of every episode, but weren't involved in the main storyline. So it was always like an A, B, and C storyline, and the C storyline had a few scenes and didn't necessarily tie into the rest of it.
So, if anyone doesn't realize what he was talking about there, he's talking about the fact that like in shows like Friends and Scrubs, where there are a couple of like a good handful of characters, they would have 2 parallel storylines running at the same time. Like 2, like usually 2. That's like the good amount that you would have in all these shows. But USA High, for whatever reason, probably because you're right, because they had 8 main characters really, had a third storyline. And to its credit, they actually were able to make that work quite well.
Yeah, no, I like, for me it was probably a bit cluttered for what they were.
I never felt overwhelmed or anything by it. I thought it worked actually quite well how they were able to show 3 storylines. At the same point, when you take any one of those storylines in isolation, they're very short, very simple
Yes.
kind of storylines. But he did that rather than presenting the same kind of quality of storyline that you would get from Friends would have 2 parallel storylines running at the same time.
Yeah.
He did what was right to do, which I haven't seen anyone else do, which is he made them simpler while being able to run 3 at
the same time and still have it last 20 solid minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's that to the credit of Peter Engel or probably someone else whoever
actually run the show. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just like something I didn't notice it much about the first 2 episodes, but like the one from the second season we watched, there was like 2 very distinct like storylines.
Yeah.
Each like with there was clearly one which was the main storyline, and then which was the title storyline, and then there was like a B storyline with the other kids characters, and then there was a C storyline about the teachers.
Yeah. I also have something here I want to say. This episode is a plot from Friends.
Okay.
So
it is. It is a plot from Friends.
Season 1, season 2.
It's the Pete episode.
It is the Pete episode. Season 1, season 2 of Friends. There's an episode where Monica finds a new boyfriend, because in the early episodes of Friends, they were going to establish Monica as the single woman who was having a lot of boyfriends and relationships that didn't really go anywhere. That was kind of like her role in the show. And she gets with a guy called Pete that she doesn't really like, but all of her friends really like, and they want the relationship to keep going, and they're getting on really well with him.
Basically, he's fabulously wealthy.
And that's not what's happening with Pete, but that's what's happening with this character.
Pete's fabulously wealthy.
But like the whole thing that Friends does, like several years before USA High do it, is that they compare it to that the friends have to break up with the boyfriend as well. They compare the fact that the relationship between Monica and Pete is over as being the same as the relationship between Pete and the rest of her friends as being over. They're like, is it something we said? We can change, and all these kind of like typical kind of very stereotypes.
No, that's just we're talking about different things.
Are we? Like the all very typical stereotype how to deal with a breakup kind of thing. But they do that in this episode where it's Excess and Jackson who like really grow attached to Lauren's new boyfriend, who is incredibly rich and spoils all 3 of them. Lauren realizes it's a shallow, superficial relationship where she only likes him for his money, therefore ends it. But Jackson and Excess are all just are all just like, we can change, we can be his boyfriend now kind of thing, like we can be his girlfriend now kind of thing, like, and they're just kind of like comparing the friendship with a relationship kind of thing, and that's an episode of Friends.
That is an episode
also,
of Friends, I agree.
Jackson in this episode looks like he's 40 years old.
It's probably because he was.
He probably was 40 years old.
He's the Benjamin McKenzie of this show.
Hang on. Josh Holland is the name of the actor. When was he born? 1974.
Oh god. Yep.
That sounds about right. So he was like 20 something when these shows were being shot.
That's not terrible, I guess.
So
yeah, they were the episodes we watched.
Those were the episodes. Anything else I want to add to that?
No. Just overall, there was kind of everything felt like an episode of something else that they were putting into this like not very well executed new situation.
Yeah,
which was in France, but no one spoke French, and they used dollars, and most of them were American, and the ones that weren't American had sort of like fake accents, or Christian was just like a joke father character, like he didn't have any original thoughts or emotions.
He was pan-European.
Yeah.
He was German, but he was pan-European.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Like, but at the same time, a lot of the recycled plots were like from Saved by the Bell, from California Dreams, for all shows Peter Engel had produced previously.
That's true. No, yeah.
It was just updated for a more modern audience.
No, apart from,
well, it was attempting to be.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that there's like episodes that just rip off Friends.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What do you think of USA High overall? I know you love it.
Okay. I was actually expecting to hate this show.
Why did you suggest it?
Okay, I suggested it because we have to have things to watch.
That's true.
Okay,
that's true.
We shouldn't just suggest things we like, or else we're just gonna be like, I like this show because I suggested it. I actually expected to hate the show, but actually after watching 3 episodes, I found them very easy to watch.
Okay.
Like they were 20 something minutes. There are like YouTube shows, like YouTube like programs like Game Grumps and JonTron and fucking D-Respect and fucking whatever, where like they'll be like 13 minutes long, and it feels longer than one of these episodes. Like,
Yeah.
these were like very passive shows that just washed over you, and they happened, but at the same time, that being said, now that I'm thinking about it, if you have no memory of the show,
None.
there is no reason to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I probably am. These shows are washing over me, and like I'm fine with them. I'm not like enjoying them per se, but like I'm fine with them.
Yeah.
But that's probably because I remember every single goddamn episode of the show.
That probably is why. It's like if I watched like Saved by the Bell now, I'd know exactly what was going on the entire time. Whereas this was very like, I was trying to get into it, I just didn't enjoy it at all. Like when I was watching, it was like Mummy's Alive to me was like, oh, I remember this now, and it was like so good watching it again. However, this was just like painful to watch because it's just like, this is really stupid. Why is this there? Why is it like this? This is so stupid.
I actually, okay, apart from the weird kind of cultural stereotypes that were going on, the characters were pretty solid. I thought they were a lot better than like, I think this is an interesting show to watch in comparison to Saved by the Bell, because it's a very similar format, but it was done after the flop that was the college years, which apparently destroyed Peter Engel's like whole career, which I didn't realize happened. So it's interesting to compare the two because like all three female characters have kind of distinctive personalities, and like wants and dreams. While like I think the biggest weak link of Saved by the Bell is Kelly Kapowski, who just serves to be Zach's girlfriend. Like there's like no other personality to that. Where they saved this by making Lauren, who is the on again off again, not on again off again, but the will they won't they kind of situation with Jackson, the male protagonist, as also having like personalities of Jessie Spano. She has like feminist agenda, which is becoming more popular in the later 90s, and therefore more acceptable for the main female protagonist to have it rather than the B female protagonist to have it, as was the case of Saved by the Bell. Then Winnie was the fashion orientated, which again, huge female stereotype and not representative of all women, blah blah blah. But it like fashion is absolutely fine pursuit in life. It's a dream and it's an ambition and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they made, which was the real compensation of it, they made Ashley into like this Screech.
Yeah.
She was more Screech than Laz was.
It's because she was British.
Yeah, because she was British, and British people are weird apparently.
Yeah, British people just don't get things. That's clearly the message there.
And they all, because of the James Bond like obsession, they all work for the Secret Service. There's like actually so many British Secret Service jokes in this series. I remember so many. Like there's this one episode where the headmaster's brother shows up and he pretends to be a spy for MI6. He's actually a bus driver. So it's like, it's really interesting. But
James Bond is like all they get, clearly.
Yeah, Britsploitation in this era was like completely different as it is to now, which is all Doctor Who. So yeah,
and Sherlock. Don't forget about Sherlock.
Oh, and Sherlock, which is just Doctor Who, because Doctor Who is based on Sherlock, and Sherlock is now based on Doctor Who. But like,
and from now on, the thick of it.
No American knows what the thick of it is.
No, they do. That's like a big. That's a Hulu paid helped fund part of the last series.
Oh Jesus!
Shit. Yeah, no, it's like a big because BBC America show it quite heavily.
Okay.
And also Veep is based on it.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's, I was about to say there was like an American equivalent of it. I couldn't think of it. But yeah, no. I thought the show was good. Like, as far as teen sitcoms go, this is probably one of the better ones. I'm sure we'll
find worse.
We will go through many of them. I believe Hang Time is on our list.
Hang Time is on our
to me.
list.
Thanks to me. So we will. I think after a while we'll have our like grand list of teen sitcoms from the late 90s, and we'll just be like, we'll put the like
Yeah.
grand order.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for USA High. I'm just gonna say.
You've
Say it now.
high hopes for it in the future.
I have high hopes for it in terms of comparing it with Saved by the Bell,
yeah. Okay, I understand.
Hang Time, California Dreams, all the rest of them that are on the list. Yeah, I'm
Cool.
I'm good. Yeah, that's what I have to say about USA High.
Cool. I've like. It's not that I've like bad things to say. I have nothing good to say. So I'm I'm happy to move on.
I have nothing bad to say. I also have nothing good to say.
I'm gonna stop recording now. And welcome back to Very Hungry Salmon, the show about salmon fishing and friendship.
That's good. I'm down with that.
Are you down with this?
Did you
Would you say
really
you're down under the ocean with the salmon?
possibly under some sort of sea? The
Wait,
sea.
Oh, Donovan, take me away.
Okay, so if anyone can't tell, this is like the day after we recorded everything else for the USA High episode. I'm hungover. He was fine.
I'm fine. I had to go to sleep because
You were very tired.
I was tired, and also I had work today. You did not.
I had a bank holiday. It's pretty
That's
nice.
true. It is a bank holiday in Dublin.
Whee!
Also, yeah, you're hungover. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
I feel great.
Oh yeah, that was actually sorry. I was meant to talk about this off camera, but I actually didn't get to the point. But
Camera
Mike,
off mic is. Do you have a camera that I don't know about?
oh yeah, this is all like live streaming at the moment. No, but like there was this discussion over on the Europe subreddit about there was this. I found it very funny because they were all just talking about how the Spanish king abdicated today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Weird.
But they were all talking about like the points of which, as a result, they were talking about which country in Europe has the best collection of days off. I was just like, yeah, it's great here in Britain. Whenever like they get married or have a baby, we just get a day off work, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
And then, then it was like. The Spanish were like, yeah, it's the same kind of stuff here as well. And Danish were like, yeah, we have Queen's Day and it's now King's Day and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, okay. And they're all talking about that. Then someone comes along and was like, okay, well, we have our Constitution Day. Then we have like the day where we celebrate the royal family. Then we have it every other day where we celebrate like random saints. And then there was like the French come along and they were just like, well, we have a day celebrating our royal family. And then we also have a day we're celebrating when we killed one of the royal family.
Yeah. But they're still cool with it. It's fine.
Oh, it's just this weird competition of days off in Europe.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so my question for you this week, because I believe it's my turn.
It is your turn.
Okay. So, if you were to make... Okay, so I'm going to put it to you.
That is how questions work, yes.
That is a fair point. You are now magically in charge of making a crossover of two cancelled shows of your choice.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, okay. I have some good ideas.
Okay.
Are they great ideas? That's the question.
If your idea is too good, it won't be funny, so, you know.
Your idea is too legitimate.
Yeah.
No, that
we're just
could
like here for
happen.
like
You can't
20
do
minutes to
it.
be like, why haven't they done that? Why haven't they done that?
It's an excellent point.
While we were recording this, I emailed it off to Fox, and now we have like $1 million contract. See you,
Yeah.
Kieran. Fuck this podcast.
If they just had like a Joss Whedon universe crossover, so like
I mean, which of his shows got cancelled? Because like, didn't Buffy end on its own terms?
I think the CW or whatever it was at the time cancelled it to an
Okay.
extent. Maybe not.
I
So
think
we cannot. Yeah, fine, not Buffy, but like, so if the girl from Dollhouse ended up in Firefly somehow, she's just like, due to my not having memory. That's not very good. That's too legitimate, I guess.
that could probably happen. Like,
trying to think of more cancelled shows.
yeah.
Cancelled shows that I like. I can think of lots of cancelled shows I don't like. Oh, 2.5 Men just got cancelled. I hate that. 2.5 Men gets crossed over with Heroes. There we go. where
Well, hang on.
Masioka goes back in time and saves Charlie. And then Charlie murders Ashton Kutcher
Okay.
with his newfound eclipse powers. he gets.
Yeah, actually, I was about to ask, what are the cast of 2.5 Men?
His powers.
Yeah, what are their powers?
Charlie can like turn water into booze or something. I don't know, something shit like that.
No, but
But it means he can turn your blood into alcohol and you
exactly.
die.
You just die. Yeah, I was about
He's
to
like
say
the milk kid from Misfits. You're just like,
Exactly.
control milk. That's a terrible power. Oh
love
wait,
that
you
guy.
can literally kill everyone.
I love the lactokinesis guy. As
Yeah.
it's called. Okay. What about Ashton Kutcher? Because that's where the big showdown is.
I think Ashton Kutcher does have like a really, really bad. Like, what power would Kelso have from that 70s show?
Because that's the only character he ever is.
Yeah, like he needs a really shit power that, you know.
Well, no, I like the idea of
How
like this
shitty.
weird power. Charlie having this weird power, but then like Ashton Kutcher has like a pretty decent power, like one that you would think is good, like super speed or something.
What would he
But
have
he's-
needed in Punked? What would have been really good? Invisibility.
Oh.
Ashton
Oh,
Kutcher
yeah,
turn
actually.
invisible and punk everyone. That's his thing. But then Charlie is just like, boom,
Punked.
made of alcohol.
I forgot about Punked. Can we just like watch all the episodes of Punked?
That's not a wholesome children's thing.
Neither was USA High, kind of maybe.
No, it was. It was very wholesome.
Yeah. well, yeah.
One of their good friends was the principal of the school.
Become friends with your principal. That probably wouldn't have worked in Ireland. Reading up on a lot of scandals in Irish Catholic education, that would have been a very bad message to send.
Stop reading, Kieran. It's bad for your health.
Stop reading and go to the principal's office.
What cancelled shows would you do?
I'm sure
I think mine is pretty solid. Also,
Well, it's-
they're bringing back Heroes, so
Yeah, so but not as a crossover with 2.5 Men.
we don't know that. It's just called Heroes Reborn, and coincidentally, 2.5 Men has just been cancelled. What a coincidence!
Cancelled or
Yeah, cancelled or transformed.
But the
CBS
rise
and NBC just have this like unholy alliance going on.
Also, I want to say something quickly before everything goes, before my answer.
Yeah.
In relation to 2.5 Men, Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen, Martin Sheen, right?
Yeah,
Great actor, love him.
Mr. President.
Yes, but god damn, is he a dedicated like father?
Oh yeah, yeah. he is.
Because like his son's acting career and like general public persona has bombed from the get go.
yes,
But he still does shitty bit parts in both 2.5 Men, and obviously doesn't do them now that like, you know,
he's not. That would be weird.
that would be weird. But he also did a shitty bit part in fucking Anger Management, that god awful show.
Oh god.
Dedicated father. This makes me like him more. Makes me hate Charlie Sheen more for trying to bring down his dad. who's
Yeah,
great.
bringing down Martin. Also, he stands by, you know, Emilio, who produces things of mixed quality.
Emilio, who's sorry? That?
His other son,
Okay, Martin, Charlie, and Emilio.
Emilio Estevez. That's their real name. Their real name is Estevez.
What?
Sheen is the name that he picked as his stage name, and then Charlie used it as well, and then Emilio Estevez used Estevez.
What the fuck? I did not know that.
Did you not?
I
you
did not
notice
know
how
that.
like Emilio Estevez look exactly the same as Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, hang on. Holy shit, he does.
Yeah, I know, right? Mighty Ducks is pretty different now.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's like the other of Martin Sheen's children. Who's
Oh
very
my
famous.
god. Okay, first of all, for a family with the technical last name of Estevez, they do not look like they would have the last name Estevez.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where he's half.
It's
like,
it's
as in,
it's several generations down
yeah,
kind of thing.
I don't
Yeah,
think it's-
that's fair.
yeah, like, which explains the non-extreme tan that would go with his name.
No ambiguous brown.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fair. Jesus, I did not know that. But
Also,
moving
it
on.
raises new questions about like how they ever thought Martin Sheen would be good as the Catholic president. Or sorry, he's not Catholic, but he's the very religious Massachusetts ex-governor.
No, he is
president.
Catholic.
Is he Catholic?
The character's Catholic because
Okay, yeah, no,
his
yeah,
mom's
yeah,
Catholic,
yeah.
but his dad
Yeah.
was Baptist. I can't remember. But there was like
controversial.
there was like because he got into like a strictly like Baptist school because his dad was the headmaster,
Yeah, that was.
but he married a Catholic woman. And it was back in the days when you did that thing where you took on the religion of your mom and only strictly that, because that's apparently
Weird.
passed down genetically on the mother's side.
That's how that works.
Yep.
Genetics.
But let's see.
Yeah, you need to give me your snappy.
Okay,
answer.
my answer. I'm sure I have more legit answers, but like all that came to mind, I like this is one of the questions I thought of like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
But now I'm just like, fuck it. I had like a brilliant answers, but now that it's all that's coming to my mind is Clone High and Farscape. I have no idea how that works.
Yeah, I have my reservations about how well that would work.
Is it like a Space Jam kind of thing where the characters of Clone High are still cartoons interacting with live action people?
Yes, I think it would need to be, or else it would just get like all kinds of racist, all kinds of quickly.
Fair point. No, hang on. There's got to be like something I'm missing here, because I like the idea of turning some really serious show that got cancelled into a Space Jam like kind of thing by just putting in the characters of Clone High.
If they hadn't brought 24 back, 24 with Clone High.
This is kind of like, this is where I fall like on the whole. See, cancelled. Yeah, see, cancelled is kind of one of those things that I'm just like, oh yeah, I suppose, because as we were talking about earlier, Buffy technically got cancelled. I think you're absolutely right. I should look into that. But the last episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they didn't do the dick move where they were like left on a. They got to finish the season, and they didn't leave it on a huge like season cliffhanger.
That's true. No, yeah, that is true.
Which is where the worst things happens. Best example of that is, of course, Clone High.
Best example of.
Well, yeah, like best example of a show getting cancelled while being left on like a giant cliffhanger.
Yeah, but like giant cliffhanger within like an animated cartoon, Kira.
Okay, I will one day give a proper rant about Clone High because it is the greatest show ever.
But it wasn't like, at the end of the first season of The West Wing. Spoilers.
Yeah, okay.
when he gets shot, it wasn't like the president's been shot. Then they just didn't make a second series.
Yeah, that
It's
would
not like
really
that.
bad.
It was like
It was a
like,
bit
what
like
was the
that.
end of Clone High again?
They all get
So-
frozen, and
Yeah, that was it.
Joan of Arc sleeps with JFK, and both Joan and Abe realize they love each other.
Yeah, that was pretty deep.
It's so goddamn emotional. I've cried from that ending several times. It equates the number of times I've watched that episode.
Okay.
And it plays the song from the first episode. Can we start over? I was like, oh no, you can't. You got cancelled because of riots in India. Yeah, it's a great show because the reason it's great, I make this point, is while taking the piss of like teen dramas,
Yeah.
It tricked you into watching a teen drama. Because while a parody of teen dramas, it was still a teen drama. Like, it was just animated and silly, but at the same time, like, it still had like a love triangle that was being taken seriously to a certain extent and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. 7 seasons, yeah, it was cancelled. Okay, but like, this is where I felt like on the difficulty lines of cancelled, because like you can have a thing where a show is cancelled, but it still ended on its own terms.
Yeah. Okay.
A good example of that was USA High. Because they only had 2 seasons, although mind you 95 episodes, which is more than a lot of shows ever get. But like, yeah, that was, they got notified they're getting cancelled, so on the last episode of season 2 they just graduate.
Yeah.
And they ended it on their like own terms and that kind of thing. That's, I guess, my like idea of cancelled is abruptly cancelled.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. Like Heroes was like that. Like they did intend to keep going, but everyone was just like, no, stop it, you've ruined it.
Yeah.
But hang on, there's gotta be like some sort of like good. Oh, is that technically cancelled? Would you call that cancelled? Fucking, oh my god, what's it called? Oh shit, I'm blanking on this so hard. Baltimore. It happens in Baltimore.
The Wire?
The Wire.
The Wire wasn't cancelled. They stopped making it because they did the 5 seasons.
But like your guy is still like, I'll make a 6th season of The Wire if weed is legalized in the States.
Oh. Yeah, but I think that's more of a... He wasn't going to make a 6th season of The Wire. It's not like HBO were like, no, you can't make any more of this really successful TV show. I think they were like, we're going to make the 5 seasons, and that's it. What do you want to put with The Wire? Clone High?
Clone High, yeah. To turn it into a Space Jam kind of situation.
But with like more drug dealing and more murder.
Yeah. Hang on. Broadcast. Where's that show status thing they have? This is one of the things that annoys me with Wikipedia is sometimes the like format of their types of articles aren't always the same.
Yeah.
Because you know what you see, and sometimes they just say show status and it's like cancelled or finished or post production or whatever, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is technically the status of The Wire? You're probably right, but I want to know for certain. It faced possible cancellation. Hang on. Show might be cancelled. Shows low ratings as part of its completion again. Oh, competed with Desperate Housewives and Sopranos.
I knew what you got it.
Okay, so I think it just
What are you trying to get at with this?
I don't know. I just want to be able to use The Wire.
Okay, I just don't think that would be a very good crossover.
I think it'd be a great crossover where, like, you know, the day-to-day times of The Wire with like the new side characters making quips. Yeah, from Clone High.
Like, I just don't love Clone High as much as you love Clone High. I'm sorry.
You need to rewatch it.
Like you've made me watch it twice with you.
You need to rewatch it. You will love it. Okay. Something else then.
No, like it's quite good. I don't want to watch it again.
I'm just trying to think now. What else could you put together that would work well? It would make sense. I'm gonna go with like. Oh, okay. The Godzilla cartoon series. Right? Bear with me. Remember that?
Yeah, okay.
The American Godzilla cartoon series.
Yeah. I'm with you.
With Stargate SG-1. So, how I imagine this goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
they're just casually using the Stargate one day, and then
Yeah.
the cartoon Godzilla just randomly comes through.
No, because anyway, you can't do that. They have the iris. They can stop that from happening.
Okay.
Okay, so they do that thing that happens sometimes where the Stargate fucking glitches out because of sunspots, and
Yeah,
it goes into
okay,
an alternate
fine.
reality. Goes into an alternate reality,
Yeah.
and then they end up in the Godzilla world. It's still animated, right? And when they step through, they're all animated.
Okay.
Also, the characters they added in the last season of Stargate are miraculously dead, and all the original cast are back. Let me have my moment.
The replacements go through and come out the other side as the original cast.
Yes. They just
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd vote for that.
okay, and then they're like, and then they meet the whole like they have this whole little moment where they meet the people from the Godzilla world. You know that
Yeah,
that
yeah.
French lady spy, the guy and the fat guy. He was kind of fat, nerdy guy.
Yeah.
The guy who was meant to be Matthew Broderick, but totally wasn't Matthew Broderick.
No,
He was far too tall, chiseled, and charismatic to be
the broad.
like, yeah, like not that he isn't that. It's just it was in a very different way.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I don't remember the Godzilla cartoon well enough to get
Oh,
everything you're saying.
Okay, you
But-
possibly need to like get some images.
I think definitely
yeah.
that can go on the list. The Godzilla.
Is it
cartoon
not on the
TV
list
series.
already?
I don't think it is.
Oh my god, what are we doing with ourselves?
We're watching great things like USA High. instead.
Exactly. I also have Hang Time is on the list. We're getting through Hang Time.
Oh no, we're watching
Um,
Hang Time. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh yeah. But anyway,
I've
so
accepted that.
they're in the Godzilla alternate universe of Earth, right?
Yeah.
And
Of
but then the Goa'uld start attacking because they exist in this world as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Godzilla manages to defend them off for a while, but then there's like threat of the Goa'uld taking over Godzilla and controlling him for their own nefarious purposes. So all the shit characters of Godzilla die.
Yeah. All the
shit. These are my script notes while
Yeah,
we're in the studio.
He dies off camera. He's not even important enough to die properly.
So as far as I'm concerned, that's probably the lead. No, hang on. He has to stay. The redheaded girl from Godzilla series, she's gone.
Yeah,
Didn't like
okay.
her.
Okay.
Everyone else can stay. Except no, hang on. Through some Goa'uld technology that's
Yeah.
like used incorrectly, the Matthew Broderick guy who can control Godzilla is fused with Godzilla. So his subconsciousness is in Godzilla, so Godzilla is willing to listen to people more.
Oh, he can become one of those Jurassic Park 4 concept art people who's like half person, half rapture.
Visually, it still looks like Godzilla.
No, visually it looks a bit like Matthew Broderick. that would have been the best ending to that movie, where like if they'd done the whole you don't see the monster for ages thing, and then Matthew Broderick finally sees Godzilla and it looked really like him.
We really wanted to use that
is
star
a bit
power.
of a, oh no, I shouldn't have. Oh no, it was all those lizards I had sex with. Oh,
All those lizards I had sex with on the Bikini Island, it's Bikini Atoll.
and you'd just be like, oh, Matthew Broderick again. Ah, classic Matthew Broderick.
Classic Broderick. He did the old Broderick with the lizards again.
I think they're that's some solid ideas. I think that's
Yeah.
definitely your one.
Anyway, but like then the
Screw
Goa'uld
Clementi.
take over, and then they have to bring the Godzilla team through, and now the Godzilla team are just a part of they're refugees essentially, including Godzilla.
Are they still animated?
No, when they come back, when they go through, they're now like live action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the Matthew Broderick guy isn't there because he's fused with Godzilla?
Yes, but
I
Godzilla
was
is there
going to
now.
ask if the Matthew Broderick guy looks like Matthew Broderick, but Godzilla looks like Matthew Broderick, so it's fine.
Yeah, that was my way of writing out the Matthew Broderick guy, but in favor of still having Godzilla listen to people.
No, I think
That's
you
how I
definitely-
wrote out that situation.
I think you definitely just have the like Godzilla look a bit like Matthew Broderick.
Just has his hair and nothing else.
No, it has his face.
Jurassic 4 concept art, if anyone hasn't seen that, it's just awful.
Terrifying.
I actually have to see, if you Google that, is that the first thing that comes up is the Jurassic Park 4 concept art.
It might not be because
No, it is. It totally is.
Oh,
It's
so horrible.
horrifying.
it's just like whatever it is, Alien 3 or is it Alien Resurrection? Anyways, one of the alien movies
Where the
like,
hybrids,
yeah, the weird like people, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, they're
aliens.
actually like, they're really interesting. I'd like to fight them in a video game,
from a distance. I don't want them to get close to me.
but not in Jurassic Park.
No.
It's gross.
It's also like the entire concept of Jurassic Park is that they've done it for entertainment purposes. So like if that storyline had gone ahead, that implies that someone was like, how do I make money? People like dinosaurs and people like the circus.
People like dinosaurs, but people also like people.
People also like politically driven plays. So what if I can have dinosaurs act out?
Yeah, but like people forget, like there's the raptor hybrid ones, which were like front and center, I guess, and they're really creepy.
They were so creepy.
So creepy. But then there was also like the half T-Rex people and the half Triceratops people.
There were so many things wrong with that.
It is the first thing that comes up. That's all that comes up.
Let's stop talking about it. I'm scared.
Yeah, right. There's also someone who's made like, oh my god. Actually, when you start scrolling down, some fucking hilarious shit starts happening. There's so many photoshops
Really?
of like the concept art. There's like one concept art of like a man raptor, okay, and he's like he's not roaring, he's not in much of an action pose. It's just like the static man raptor kind of concept.
Okay.
But then they've cut that out and put it onto like scenes from like previous Jurassic Park movies. Where he's just replaces the top half of other people's bodies.
Oh god.
And then there's others where it's just raptors with top hats.
Raptors with top hats would make a solid movie.
Raptors with top hats and like hard hats, and then there's like dinosaur soldiers, because that was their whole idea, is like they've hybrid dinosaur soldiers now for some reason. And what they did,
just because you can.
What they did is someone got a picture of Rambo from one of the Rambo movies where he's shooting.
Yeah.
Cut out his face, put a raptor instead of it, and just made his skin from his arms raptor texture. It's really silly looking.
Why would anyone like have done this? Why did this make like into development at all?
Why did it get to concept art stages and no one?
Like that is too far.
And then people then realized this was a dumb idea. This was a stupid idea.
What have we done?
What have we done? But yeah, if you want a good time, Google Jurassic Park 4 concept art. Everything that happens on this page is hilarious.
It's pretty weird. Anyway, I think it was a solid talk, Kieran.
And then our two shows would cross over with one another.
Yeah, that's when like Charlie Sheen with his newfound superpowers would have met the guys from Stargate.
And Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'd imagine Charlie Sheen rides Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
In that he sleeps with him, because it's 2.5 Men logic.
He does both. And then they make a quip about it.
Yeah.